You may not realize it, but honeybees are under a lot of pressure. First, they have to pollinate the plants. They have to build their own hive. And since honey is how they make their living, they have to suck on thousands of flowers just to make our lives sweeter. Lucky for them, there's a father and son team down under who've invented a new way to ease the stress of our little stinger-tailed friends. And they're gonna tell us how they did it, even though it's really none of our beeswax. Honey is a food that some bee species make and store up for winter. Honeybees collect nectar from flowers, carry the nectar back to their hive, process the nectar, which is in liquid form, into honey, and then deposit it into honeycomb cells, preserving the honey until it's needed, or until it gets harvested by man. The problem for beekeepers is that extracting honey from beehives can be tricky. The hive boxes are heavy to lift, bees are easily agitated when you open a hive, and despite wearing protective bee suits, you still get stung a lot. Father and son beekeepers, Stuart and Cedar Anderson, felt that there had to be a better way to remove the honey, so they invented the Flow Hive. I spoke with them from their farm outside of Brisbane, Australia. Stuart and Cedar, thanks for joining us today on the Henry Ford's Innovation Nation.
Thanks, Mo. It's a pleasure to be here.
First of all, what does your Flow Hive do?
We've managed to save all of the work involved with harvesting. You can turn a handle and honey will come straight from your beehive into your jar. No opening the hive, no disturbing the bees.
Normally you put in a honeycomb foundation for the bees to build their wax honeycomb on. Now what's different with ours is we've made it so that honeycomb can move and basically transform from being honeycomb cells that the bees fill with honey into channels that the honey can flow down to the trough at the bottom and out of the hive.
After 20 minutes, an hour or so, the honey's finished draining out, and then you turn the frames back to their, what we'd say, cell closed position. Then the bees, they get it that something's wrong, the honey's gone missing, and over the next day they'll chew the capping off, repair the cells and begin to fill them with honey again.
When you use the Flow Hive, does the honey end up tasting different?
People are telling us that the honey tastes more like comb honey.
Honey.
And we think it's because the honey hasn't been spun in the centrifuge and exposed to so much oxygen. We think it's also because the honeys aren't mixed up, so you can actually drain one frame out of the hive and keep that flavour separate from any other frames.
Well, guys, it seems that the Flow Hive is truly the bee's knees, which here in the States means it's really cool. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Mo.